Do you also, like many of us, struggle to feel truly happy? It's like we go through life constantly searching for happiness, but no matter what we do, it always seems out of reach. We chase after it, thinking that getting the perfect job, having the ideal relationship, or buying the latest gadget will finally make us feel complete. But we often end up disappointed. Why is that? One big reason, I think, is that we expect too much from everything. Whether it's from family, friends, or even the small things in life like movies or games, we have these huge expectations. We even expect life to be fair, like if we're kind and help others, we naturally assume that the world will reward us. But life doesn't really work that way, does it? We get upset when things don't go our way, and that happens a lot. We might put in all the effort at work, but sometimes the promotion still goes to someone else. Or we could bend over backward for a friend and still find them not there for us when we need them. And this isn't just about big things. Sometimes we even build up this idea that watching a certain movie or playing a new game will make us super happy. But then it falls flat. These little disappointments add up. What really happens is that expectations set us up for hurt. The more you expect things to go your way, the more frustrated you'll get when they don't. But once we start lowering those expectations or adjusting them, it changes things. Imagine going into something like a meeting or a hangout with the mindset of, whatever happens, I'll be fine. It feels lighter, right? We can't control everything, but we can definitely control how we react to it. Another thing I've noticed is that we've become way too sedentary. We weren't designed to sit around all day, but modern life kind of forces us to. Whether it's sitting at a desk for hours on end or lounging on the couch after a long day, our bodies are often just idle. The thing is, even a small amount of movement can do wonders for our mood. And no, I'm not talking about hitting the gym for 2 hours every day. Something as simple as going for a walk in the park or just stepping outside to feel the sun on your skin can boost your mood so much. There's something refreshing about nature. The way the wind feels against your face, the sounds of birds or leaves rustling. It's subtle but powerful. You know how they say fresh air is good for you? Well, it really is. When you're outside, moving around and breathing deeply, you're taking in oxygen, and that fuels your brain. That's why people who meditate often do it outdoors or somewhere they can connect with nature. It's not just about the physical movement either. There's something mentally recharging about being surrounded by nature. Even after a long, tiring day, a walk in the park can make you feel like you've hit the reset button. It's like your body knows it needs that break. Now, I hear people say all the time, don't rely on others for your happiness. And while I get the sentiment behind it, I think people often misinterpret this. We're social creatures. Even introverts who might prefer solitude still have a small circle of people they enjoy being around. The truth is, healthy relationships and interactions can make us happy. That doesn't mean we should depend on others to make us feel complete, but being around people who uplift us can definitely improve our mood. Have you ever had a conversation with someone that just left you feeling lighter and more connected? That's the power of socializing. Whether it's catching up with a friend over coffee, joining a group of people who share the same hobbies, or even having a chat with your neighbor, it all helps. We need those connections to feel grounded and understood. The key is finding balance, knowing when to enjoy social time and when to take time for yourself. Speaking of balance, another big reason we're often unhappy is that many of us don't actually know what makes us happy. We spend so much time trying to keep up with what others are doing. If everyone in our circle is obsessed with traveling, we think we should be too. Even if what really makes us happy is spending a quiet weekend at home. It's easy to get lost in the crowd and just go with the flow, but at some point we need to step back and ask ourselves, what really makes me happy? It's not always easy to figure that out, but one good way is to make a list of activities that genuinely bring you joy. Not the things you do because everyone else is doing them, but the things that light you up, even if you're doing them alone. Maybe it's cooking, writing, playing music, or something else entirely. Once you have that list, you can focus on those things more intentionally and see how much more fulfilled you feel. Now, let's talk about satisfaction. This idea of satisfaction is closely linked to expectations, but they're not exactly the same. We've all heard that old saying, be happy with what you have, but let's be honest, that's much easier said than done. Society constantly pushes us to want more, to never be satisfied. Take smartphones as an example. The moment a new iPhone is released, many of us feel this rush to upgrade. even though the phone we already have works perfectly fine. It's this cycle of wanting more, getting more, and still feeling unsatisfied. How do we break out of that? One way is through gratitude. When we practice being thankful for what we already have, it helps us feel more content. For example, instead of fixating on the latest phone, focus on how amazing your current one is. Remind yourself of all the things in your life that are working well: your health, your relationships, your accomplishments. Gratitude shifts your perspective and helps you feel more satisfied with where you are. Another thing that helps is learning new things. When we stop growing, we stagnate, and that's a recipe for boredom and dissatisfaction. You don't have to enroll in a full-time course or go back to school. Learning can be as simple as picking up a new hobby, reading a book on a topic you're curious about, or even watching a documentary. Learning keeps your mind sharp and gives you something to look forward to. It also boosts your confidence because every time you master something new, no matter how small, you feel a sense of accomplishment. But here's the thing, we also need to take breaks. We're so used to being on all the time, working, socializing, checking off our to-do lists, that we forget to recharge. Burnout is real, and it sneaks up on you when you're constantly pushing without taking time to rest. But rest looks different for everyone. For some, recharging might mean spending time alone, reading or meditating. For others, it might mean hanging out with friends, dancing, or even going to a party. The important thing is to figure out what refuels your energy and make time for it. And we can't forget about the role of emotions. I think a lot of us feel unhappy because we believe we shouldn't feel negative emotions like sadness, anger, or frustration. But these feelings are part of the human experience. There's no day without night, no happiness without sadness. It's all part of the same emotional spectrum, and it's okay to feel the full range of emotions. In fact, embracing these feelings helps us process them and move on more effectively. At the end of the day, balance is the key. We need to balance our work with rest, our social life with alone time, and our ambitions with contentment. It's not about getting everything right all the time, but finding harmony in the different parts of our lives. The more we strive for balance, the closer we get to true happiness. Of course, none of this happens overnight. It takes time, sometimes years, to realize these things and apply them to our lives. Watching a motivational video or reading a self-help book won't magically fix everything. But if you can start by applying just one or two of these ideas, even in small ways, you'll be better off than you were yesterday. And who knows, you might find yourself just a little bit happier tomorrow.